We start with the Bible. We know the universe was not made by these naturalistic processes via the Big Bang story. Rather, it says God created everything in the universe in 6 literal 24-hour days during creation week, and he rested on the 7th day about 6,000 years ago, which, by the way, is not a problem for an all-powerful God. He actually did it as a basis for our work week. So weekends are a Christian thing, which the unbelieving world loves to borrow from us all the time, right? And we know from Genesis 1 that on the 4th day of creation, God made the sun, the moon, and every heavenly body in the universe. That includes every planet and star. So according to God's infallible word, stars did not form slowly and gradually from gas clouds over millions of years. They formed at God's command when he said he made the stars also.
I know what y'all thinking. This guy must have failed every grade in school, definitely failed science, definitely failed history, had to have, because there's absolutely no way that somebody could be this dumb to believe the nonsense by which he spoke. And he obviously did not go to seminary and pass seminary school either, because there's absolutely no way he would have said some of the things that he said. So this young earth creationist, I don't know who he is wrong on so many levels, and I will break them all down for you. The first thing that I want to break down is the fact that he is correct. The Bible does speak as far as it being done in 7 days, 7 24-hour literal days, because it uses the word yom, and yom in every space in the Bible means a 24-hour day, especially in Genesis, because it says it was the evening, it was the day, and it was the evening, and that was one day. It was the morning and the evening, it was day 2. The morning and the evening, that was day 3. So it's definitely talking about 24-hour days in Genesis. Now, herein lies the problem. First, he says that the 7-day week was created by God, created by the Bible. When historically we know that our first knowledge of a 7-day week began with the Babylonians. That's right, the Babylonians were the first one to start utilizing a 7-day week. Not the Sumerians, not the Akkadians, not the Egyptians, not the Greeks, nor the Romans. The Greeks and the Romans adapted it from the Babylonians. And guess who was under Babylonian captivity for about 48 years? The Israelites. This is one of the reasons why we know the book of Genesis was written during the time frame of the Babylonian captivity or right after it, because they steal ideas from them. So, early Israelites didn't use a 7-day calendar. They actually went with a lunar calendar. So they went with a 28-day month calendar, not a 7-day week calendar. But the Babylonians initially started the 7-day calendar because of two things. One, the 7-day moon cycle for the phases of the moon. But number two, the main reason is because of the 7 heavenly bodies that they could visually see with their eyes. What are those 7 heavenly bodies? The sun, the moon. Then you got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Those are planets you can see with the naked eye. Those are heavenly bodies you can see with the naked eye. So they had 7 days based on those heavenly bodies and seeing the 7-day phases of the moon. That's where the 7-day calendar came from. Actually, our 60 count system also comes from them. Where do you get the 60 count system? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 months. 12 months times one more, you get 60. 60, as well as our counting by 12s, comes from the Babylonians as well. So all your 12 tribes, Babylonian. So we know that he's already lying there. Now, as far as we borrowed the weekend from Christians, no, sir. Did you know that the Romans and the Greeks actually viewed the Jewish people as being lazy because they had so many holidays and because they had a Sabbath where they could not work on a Saturday? In Roman culture, and they had adopted the 7-day week by this time frame, but in that Roman culture, you worked every day, and there weren't as many holidays. So they viewed Hebrews as being lazy because they required this 1 day a week, but they don't do nothing. Early Christians followed the same Judaic practices as far as the Sabbath being on Saturday until Constantine in 321 changed the Sabbath to Sunday, but they still viewed it as a day of the week that they don't work. They honor their God on that day and they don't do shit. Romans thought they were lazy. There was no weekend. Early Christianity never displayed a weekend. They only had the Sabbath. The weekend comes from the industrial age in America, right? Well, not just America, but around the world. But that's where the weekend comes from. The weekend was something that capitalism in Europe and America created, not something that was generated from Christianity. You could make a stretch up the morning yawning by saying that those industrialists were Christians, so therefore it came out of Christianity. But no, it came out of the industrialization of the Western world, and that's where the weekend comes from. It had absolutely nothing to do with his Bible and Christianity. And then the last thing that he was talking about was how on the fourth day God created the sun and the moon, the stars, and so on and so forth under the canopy, under the dome, inside the firmament. So what was the light and what was the darkness on the first 3 days? Problematic. Now many people will say that, oh, God was the light. So God also then is the darkness. Or did God just say, like, okay, I'm working on my project, I'm not painting for a little while, I'm gonna go and take a rest, watch some TV, get myself ready for the next day. And then he came back as a light and he started working on it some more. And he went back and like, all right, I'm good, I'm gonna take a nap, watch football games, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be the light for the next day. If God is always present and he's the light and he is also the darkness. Because the sun and the moon was not there to the fourth day to govern the day, the timing of the day, and to govern the seasons and let us know the seasons. And then the stars were created in a poof. This person failed science. Since we could calculate the speed of light, then we know how long it takes for light to get from point A to point B. And being able to calculate that and look at the far regions of space, we know that the universe is older than 6,000 years. How about this, that the stars were created more than 6,000 years ago? So it don't work. We can look back into the far reaches of the universe, and when you're looking at that, what you're looking at is the past. When light hits the earth, that light had already was sent out, and then the speed that it travels tells us how long it took it to get there, so we can date back how far those things go. So when we look out at the farthest reaches of our known universe, we can see what the universe was looking like 4 billion years ago. And that's just our known universe, because there's a whole additional universe or universes that are beyond what we can actually see. But that's just what we can see. As we develop more technologies, we'll be able to see past our known universe, and then that will become our known universe. And the more we look out, the more we learn, the more we can see how there are multiple singularities that happen within a larger universe. So the more we learn. The problem with believing in this Bible is you stop learning. You don't learn anything else because you have a fixed point that you have to stick with. Like the universe is 6,000, roughly 6,000 years old. That's dumb. We can do core samplings and see that the earth is older than 6,000 years old. We can see through geology that there are, and core samplings and uranium dating, that there are civilizations that have been around longer than 6,000 years. And with the information we have from those civilizations, that they've been around longer than 6,000 years. So if the earth wasn't created till around 6,700 years ago, roughly, how is it that we have civilizations that through uranium dating, through core samplings, through geology, through their own writings, through the architecture and the potteries and everything they left behind, how do we see that they are 9,000 years old? How could they have existed without an earth? You see how it don't make sense? Because what he's talking about doesn't make sense. So always remember, and that dude really need to know, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.